There are no shortcuts to getting highly coveted press coverage for your brand, only smart cuts like the DIY PR project. Learn how to grow your brand's credibility with PR on a budget with me by your side. This program is your all-in-one membership with expert training, customizable templates, and a supportive community to cheer you on every step of the way. Join us and start growing your business with free publicity today. Sign up now at diy-pr.com. 3 months into what felt like a storybook marriage, Dion Ruzicka and Cindy Aplanalp were suddenly faced with a life-altering challenge. Dion was diagnosed with leukemia. They turned to contrast therapy, cycling between sauna, cold plunge, and hot plunge, and became daily practitioners of breathwork. Listening to his intuition, Dion and Cindy embarked on a healing journey rooted in self-advocacy, resilience, and radical wellness, and started their business, Loyly Sauna Lounge in Houston, in only 4 days' time. Not only did Dion's leukemia eventually stop advancing, but both he and Cindy experienced profound mental and physical transformations while building their wellness business. In other words, what started as a personal wellness practice has really become their life's mission. In this episode of the Grow Your Wealth podcast, I sit down and chat with Dion and Cindy about the science behind contrast therapy, the importance of consistency in our wellness routines, building emotional and mental resilience when building a business, and how Cindy and Dion are helping others reclaim their health through the power of daily rituals. An important disclaimer as we get started with this episode. This episode is based on our guests' personal experiences and should not be taken as medical advice. If you are experiencing pain or illness, please consult a healthcare professional to determine the best course of action for your health. Without further ado, here is Dion and Cindy. Awesome. Welcome, Cindy and Dion, to the Grow Your Wealth podcast. It's so great to have you here today.
Oh, it's awesome to be with you, Rena. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rena.
Thank you. So, you guys have an incredible story. You're both the owners of Loyly Sauna Lounge in Houston, Texas. Can you explain to us what is the Loyly Sauna Lounge and describe a little bit about what the space is like and what your mission is at Loyly?
Okay, so Loyly Sauna Lounge, we, first of all, the name. So Loyly means when you put the water on the rocks in Finland, it makes a steam. And it's also like, they call it the Church of Nature, and it can also be like your life force. So we got the name from that. And then the lounge part I kind of got from ChatGPT. So I put Loyly Sauna Lounge together. And what we are is we're an epic community. And what we're doing here is me, Cindy and I are teaching the world how to do this contrast therapy and how to heal themselves, through doing this practice. And we're just building an epic community here and trying to get our message out that this therapy is more than just feeling good. It's actually a lifestyle that can cure you of almost all human illness there is. So that's what we're doing.
So I will tell you that this happened completely by accident. It was an absolute tragedy. We had gotten married in August of 22, and by December of 22, Dion was really sick, like really sick. His lymph nodes are always swollen. He was out of gas. Felt terrible. He had lost 30 pounds. By December, he had a PICC line of some super strong antibiotics because he had some dental work that wouldn't heal. And it was just like we were going to doctors, it seemed like every week, and we couldn't get any answers or any solutions or like no help. And he was literally, my beloved that I'd searched for my whole life, was dying before my eyes. And Christmas morning of 22, he wakes up with this strange dream to take really cold baths. And he tells me, and I'd never heard of such a thing. Like that sounded awful, right? But my thought was, hey, if you do, I do, but didn't really think anything about it. until January, when we had his lymph nodes biopsied, and we found out the reason for all of this is that he had lymphatic leukemia. And that was like just a gut punch. Mm-hmm. And we learned that news on a Thursday. And on Monday, they wanted to start with this really aggressive treatment of this protocol of chemo and radiation and prepping him for a bone marrow transplant. And like he was already almost dead, right? Mm-hmm. And so we just Googled anybody that had cured themselves naturally. And this really curious Dutch guy named Wim Hof kept coming up over and over. And we just watched all of his videos. That whole weekend, we just deep dove into like anything this man said. And honestly, it was such a lifeline for us because it offered hope, because it was a guy that had taken his health into his own hands, and he had done some crazy, incredible things just with the human body without, modern medicine. And he had really been able to tap into his nervous system and his own power. And he takes really cold baths. So it like circled back to the dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Wim Hof, he's my kind of guy. He just takes everything to his own hands, and he's shown the world and shared with the world what he learned with this breathing technique, because you can manipulate what nervous system you're in. And when you can do that, let me tell you, it's so much power. It's more power than you can know until you learn how to do it. So, and that's what we're about, teaching people how to get into the right nervous system so that you can heal with the cold and the sauna and the hot tub and all the things that we do. So you have to be in the right state to receive that healing. So that's what we do.
Thank you for sharing that story. That's absolutely incredible. And way to advocate for yourself and for your health too. I've heard so many times, and I'm a big believer in the power of our breath and our focus and our minds, right? And it sounds like that is a big part of really being successful when it comes to regularly practicing contrast therapy, if I'm understanding you correctly. Before we kind of unpack that, in case there's anyone listening who's not familiar with contrast therapy, could you describe exactly what that is? And just as you said, Cindy, jumping in a cold bath, that sounds awful, right? Well, what are the benefits of contrast therapy too, other than, my goodness, Dion, you're obviously a walking benefit of it. But what can someone who's new to your studio coming in have to benefit from contrast therapy, especially on a more regular basis?
Yeah, sure. So what contrast therapy is it's taking your body and going from one extreme temperature to the other. And that does so many things
can you get that?
For your body that so it's first, what we do is I'll just explain the process, and then I can explain some of the benefits along the way. So we get cold first. So we have a tub of water. It's 40 degrees, and we get cold first. And the reason we get cold first is that there's a part of our brain that actually grows and gets more robust and bigger. It's the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And as you get in the cold water, you're doing something hard, so it strengthens and builds that muscle. It's like a toughness muscle, if you will. So we stay in the water, and the water is an imitation because everybody takes it different. You have different levels of inflammation in the body, but we go from 30 seconds to 3 minutes in the cold first, and then next we go directly to a hot tub. That's 104 degrees. And in the hot tub, it relaxes the whole body, the muscles. You get about a 40% relaxation going from that cold to hot. And you're also making these different proteins in your body. So your liver makes, and when the cold, you make cold shock proteins. And these proteins go around your body. They each have a different job. Some are, strengthening your bone density. Some is your skin. There's all different types of things. And these proteins go through your body for 3 days after you do it. And then they've also found that your gut biome also produces its own cold shock proteins and heat shock proteins. So we're using that to heal our bodies. And then you also, when you're in the cold, you create dopamine like 250 times more. than if you would do cocaine. So, and it makes you just feel incredible. Then the hot tub, it also lowers your blood insulin levels. So we stay in there about 5 minutes. And that also does another thing. The other benefit is that it heats your body up to a higher temperature, because you were just in the cold. So this heats your body up to a hotter temperature so that you're not in the sauna just killing time waiting for your body to heat up. You're already at temperature. And when you get in the sauna, you start sweating immediately instead of just waiting in there for nothing. Go about 10 minutes in the sauna. And the sauna does incredible things in itself. It's been proven to help prevent Alzheimer's, heart disease, get your blood flowing. There's just so many incredible benefits of sauna. It's the only way to get rid of oil soluble toxins in your system, in your body. And then when you get hot and sweaty, then we go back to the cold, and we repeat that cycle. And then at the end of the cycle, and what's happening, when you go in the cold, all your blood's going to your vitals, slowing down. Then when you go in the hot, it's speeding up and moving everything. So that gets any blood that might be in your body pooling, it gets it moving, and gets the nutrients where it needs to be. And it heals you. And then our last step is we get cold last, and then we warm up naturally, because that builds new mitochondria for our body, and that makes all of our energy.
So I can also tell you from my benefit, from my perspective, is that when you do this contrast thing and you're going from hot to cold, you're taxing your body, you're getting a workout. And this is how I lost about 40 pounds just doing this. Also, you have so much more spaciousness in your mind as far as your learn to be able to handle the cold. I had to learn how to breathe. And we teach people how to breathe, how to gain control of their autonomic nervous system. So instead of being in fight or flight all the time, to feel what it feels like to be in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest, digest, and repair. And so that we get our bodies in this healing state before we do all of these modalities. And it's just kind of like a team lift, like all your systems are working. You're feeling good. You're getting that dopamine hit. You're doing something good for yourself, and you're doing it in community. So you're doing it with other people. So it's just a win all the way around. And it takes about an hour to go through the process.
That is so amazing. And I love what you said too. And I think this is really, really unique, right? You're not just building community in your business, but you're also building, I think, resilience with your clients as well. Like this already sounds mentally like quite the feat, let alone the physical part, right? Like the physical sensations are going to be physical, but what holds us back from doing hard things is our minds, right?
Right, yeah.
So yeah, coming in and
it,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, you're right. It trains you. So the act of getting in the cold water every time, it trains you to do a hard thing every time. Because when you first start doing it, you'll sit there and you'll procrastinate because you know it's gonna feel cold, you know it sucks, and you just, you'll procrastinate for a while, but then you just end up doing it. But then after a while, you keep doing this practice, and now I just step into it. I don't even tell myself when I'm doing it. I just don't even think about it. I just do it now. So it trains you to become your best self.
Yeah, I always like to refer to myself as this cold water plunging thing has made me dangerously courageous. It's helped me say yes to things that I would never have said yes to, and push the boundaries, and also take the boundaries off myself, because you feel like you're your own superhero. Like when you do like something as simple as really cold water, being able to do that and making my body do something it doesn't want to do. It's as if I have control of myself. And this doesn't just relate to cold water. This relates to the thoughts that are going on in my head, right? Or the anxiety. I've suffered from terrible social anxiety all my life. And this has been one of the ways that I've been able to learn what it feels like to be in parasympathetic, to be in that calm state, no matter what the circumstances. I know what that feels like physically. And cold water has taught me, between cold water and breath, how to get back to that place within myself. And that is power.
And a beautiful thing to witness too.
Oh my God, I can only imagine, right? Like the people coming in and really doubting themselves and
Yeah.
accomplishing what they thought, 1 hour before would be absolutely impossible. And then coming back
Yes.
and doing it again, right? Like what a triumph for them. But also it must feel so, so good, right? Like that you're
It
really
does.
transforming people's lives. There's not a lot that you can say can be so transformative in an hour, would you say? Especially running a business like that other business,
No.
you can actually claim like a really, really good before and after.
No, you will. I am a better woman every time I get out of cold water than when I get in it.
Mhm.
And I have a little ritual that before I get in, I think about something that I'm going to let go of, something that's not serving me, or just some simple improvement, right? And when you get in cold water, it definitely takes your breath away. And it's like Control Alt Delete for your nervous system. So when I step in the water, I'm like, okay, now I'm reprogramming. Now I have the opportunity to set new standards for myself. Like maybe the thing I was letting go of is procrastination. And when I get in the water, the thing that I'm inserting is I'm a woman of action. I get stuff done. I keep my word. I use my time wisely, like, all these kinds of attributes that are beneficial to me as a woman, as a partner, as a business person. All just it's adding to the 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 Cindy that I want to be. Like I'm reprogramming, I'm in control of that instead of just the stuff that's, I've absorbed from whatever the programming or the stories that I've told myself or the stories I've believed, from others about myself. I feel so much more in control and so much more powerful because I know what to do. I have a path.
Mm. Oh my goodness, I love that. And when we spoke a year ago, Cindy and Dion, I remember telling you at the time, I am absolutely terrified of the cold plunge. I do saunas. I love the sauna. I bet these near friends, but but the
Yeah.
cold plunge really does intimidate me. And you know what it was and we have a podcast episode, I'm doing a solo episode specifically about the pains of being an entrepreneur, like the physical pain sometimes that we
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like fed this narrative from, whether it was my chiropractor or my massage therapist, like cold plunge will be terrible for you. Like you can't, that's not for you. You have neck pain, you have back pain. You're like literally one of my massage therapists who I love. She was like, I think you would break in a million pieces if you jumped into a cold plunge. And long story short, on this episode, I really drilled down that like the root of my pain was actually I programmed it in my brain, quite honestly. I don't have the pain anymore because I changed my mindset around it. And now I'm literally excited to take the plunge because, especially Cindy, something that you said previously is the truth of who you are shows up in cold water. And I'm like, I'm not a coward. I could do this. Like, what am I so afraid of? But there's just something about, like, especially if you just have not done it before, like we like our creature comforts. Like I like my warm, cozy bath. Why on earth? But like, right, you're talking 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Anybody can do anything for 30 seconds, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a long time. And it's just the act of doing something uncomfortable, like getting your body and your system used to being comfortable with discomfort.
Yep.
Like, yep, it's going to suck. Yep, I'm doing it anyway. And that is so transferable in life as an entrepreneur. I run 2 businesses. So I have my design firm and I have Loyly. And through that, through this practice, I will just tell you that it's made it so much easier to have difficult conversations with my staff or a client. I can tell you through the breath work that I've learned how to do. I can hold my breath for a pretty long time on an exhale. And that's one of the techniques. We use a Wim Hof technique. And on that exhale, I've learned that if I think about a thought, if something I'm nervous about or something pops into my brain, I start questing for air immediately. Like like it just jacks up my whole breath hold, right? Like if I'm not in that calm, steady state. And what it's taught me is the expense of a negative thought or an emotion and how much it costs me energetically. Like I can physically feel it. And that has helped me make so much better decisions on like what's a yes or what's a no, a yes to a client, a yes to a project that we're accepting, you know, a yes to, you name it, anything, or a no. And it's just given me clarity because I do believe in doing this practice and learning how to control my breath and doing hard things and, you know, being comfortable with discomfort. It's really taught me the ability to get more in heart centered as far as always just being head centered, like in my head all the time. Really what is resonating with my heart, I'm able to tap into that power. And that is really the truth of who we are. You know, the power that's in our hearts, the divinity that's in our hearts, the what's beyond the physical form, that's who we are. And you get the opportunity to feel what that feels like and to understand that and to claim that. And it's huge. I mean, I can't tell you how big it is. It's just changed everything.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And you feel it, you know something's happening with your body because you feel it immediately. I mean, as soon as you go from the cold to the hot, you get this big smile on your face, and the other thing that happens, you get real close to your spirit again. So
yeah, it's just the whole thing is, you know, we opened Löyly because we were doing this all the time because Dion was sick, and we were doing this about 5 to 6 times a week. And the place that we were going was very inconvenient. It was about an hour away and about an hour to do this, so an hour back. Like it was like 3 hours, right? And I had wet towels in my car all, you know, the whole week, right? And then another place opened right across the street from where we live, and we live in a high rise. And when that place opened, we were like, great, like this is going to be better. And it was great on the sauna, but the cold water wasn't cold enough. And he started getting sick again. And so we had no intention of opening this business. If we had lived in if we lived in a home where we could have added it ourselves, we would have done this at home. And really, Dion, we started this business in 4 days because Dion was getting sick again because the water wasn't cold enough. And he was like, yes. And he was like, babe.
I ordered the plunge tubs on my way to work.
Yeah. And he calls me and he's like, guess what I did? And I'm like, what? And I had
to take my life in my own hands. That's all it was to it, because I knew instinctually that if I had my own equipment, the cold tubs and the sauna and all that stuff, I knew that I could figure out the best way to do it. And then when we added the hot tub and we come up with a process, it's the best way to do it. And it works. So it's a miracle thing. It really is a miracle on earth that this exists, and everybody should know about it. The Finnish people know about it for 2,000 years, but why don't you hear about it in the news? Why don't you hear about all this stuff everywhere? We should, and we're going to, because we're going to tell it.
Yeah. And you know, like we had all these health benefits, and he's like, babe, if it worked for us, it would work for anybody. And the thing that is really exploded is the community aspect of this and what's happening, you know. And I'm just amazed at the people that walk through our door that are having this experience, and they might come in for recovery. We have a lot of athletes that come in for that, but then they're with us for a few sessions and they're like, hey, I sleep better. I'm calmer. I feel like I'm more of who I am. Like there's these other benefits that these gains that people are having that are just huge. And so that's, you know, that's the most exciting part to us about Löyly is the ability of what it's doing on a community level. And the idea of social well-being, that concept is so important to me. And, we're so glad to be on the front end of that in our community. And we really want to spread this because this is huge. This is game-changing, life-changing, world-changing information for people. And I'm just amped about it.
It is. And also I am a patient at MD Anderson still. And let me tell you, whenever I call my doctor and I said, doctor, my lymph node is the size of a golf ball. And I called the doctor and I said, hey, doctor, what can I do to get some relief from this? And he goes to me, Mr. Ruzicka, you have lymphoma. There ain't nothing you can do. That's just what it is. Well, there was something I could do, and I could go get in the cold water and go up to my neck, even though it sucked. But guess what? Those lymph nodes all went down and went away. And that's incredible for anybody who has lymphoma and dealing with all he's dealing with, because the pain don't go away. It hurts so bad. It feels like your neck's going to rupture.
That being said, too, is there anyone that shouldn't go in cold water? Like, I'm assuming maybe pregnant people should speak with their doctor, or in general, if you have any health concerns, speak to a doctor. But are there people that you would turn away?
Uh, for me, it's just, I don't know the studies about it or the science behind it. I've heard about the pregnant women. I'm not sure that it's safe or unsafe. So I feel like each person really needs to be the judge with their own health and their own mind to see if they should do it. To me, I think everybody will benefit from it that can do it. I think it strengthens all of our systems because it works all the systems. So.
And if a person's concerned about that, like we've had pregnant women just stick their feet in or just stick their hands in. And I would err on the side of caution. So I would say probably wait till after you have your child. And if a person had concern about if they had heart issues or arrhythmia or something like that, they should consult their doctor for sure.
Yeah.
Like common sense.
Contrast studios, they are a little bit more prevalent than they were about a year ago. But one thing that is not quite as common is basically going into the cold plunges and so forth in a group with other people. This community aspect of it, I think that you're creating at Loyly is so spectacular, right? Because in addition to kind of building resiliency, confident in yourself and so forth, doing it in a group with other people, like you really must connect with others that are physically and emotionally and mentally going through what you're going through, supporting each other if maybe you're a pro, right? And need a little bit of support as well. How does connecting with others in this space or joining communities like the one that you've built at Loyly not only improve your personal health, but also like just success overall in life?
Well, we've gone to 8 different countries in the last year to experiencing contrast therapy all over Scandinavia, Canada, and we just came back from Scotland at the Global Wellness Conference. And the thing that kept showing up over and over again for us, especially in Scandinavia, is that this is a group activity. It's a family activity. It's a multi-generational activity. It's something that people do together. We were in a sauna in Sweden with the LinkedIn exec, for example, and he said he does all of his meetings in the sauna now, like doing contrast therapy in sauna, because your tech won't work in the sauna, right? He does a lot of people intermittent fast, so they don't do lunch or dinner, right? Also, you're in a clear state of mind, like heart mind coherence, because you've already done this hard thing together, and you're more open for bonding. You're more open. Your mind's more open, and you're stacking your wellness, like you're doing something healthy. So he's like, this is what I use all over, and it's been great. It's super beneficial. Plus, it's unique. And so we're finding that when we, like our community, like a lot of places are very clinical, where there's a sauna and a cold plunge in a private room and you're on your own. Like, good luck with that. It's so hard to do by yourself. Our environment is really warm. It's like when you come in our space, it's like walking in our living room. It's very hospitable. We have a tea and coffee lounge. We have a fireplace. It's a place to hang out. A lot of people come here and like linger, but before their session or after their session. We're very community centric. We've got 2 plunges on our patio. We've got 2 plunges in our room, and we just are about to install a 12-person cold plunge, which I'm super excited about. And doing this thing together, like doing a hard thing together, being vulnerable together, being able to give and receive support to another human being is just really epic. And that's the thing, like the disconnect that people feel is really pretty mind numbing. The suicide rate for people 10 to 33, that's the number one cause of death, is suicide. And that's just heartbreaking to me, and so unnecessary. Like, we need each other. And when COVID happened, and a lot of the things that are going on in our world right now, people need a place to feel connected, and doing something hard together. We've talked about that, but just a place to meet like-minded individuals, people that are wanting to take care of their health, wanting to make a change in their life. They're wanting to strengthen a part of their resiliency. It happens the best in a group setting. And so I really feel like we're onto something, and we're gifting the world with something really big. And that's why I get out of bed in the morning. That's why we get up here at 6 a.m. to breathe with our crew and do that, because it's really, really important.
Yeah. So I can tell you from just watching people. So when we started, I didn't know what to expect, right? But you see people that are strangers. One person, just first time they do it, and they get through it. We help them. Everybody helps them, and they help that next person that's first time doing it. They help them, and when those two people help each other, they bond like it's incredible to watch and to witness. And then they become friends, and then they start coming every week together, and then their lives change and their family changes. And it's this group we started in the morning, 6 a.m. group. We breathe together, we plunge together, we hot tub together, sauna, and we do everything together. And those people, we bonded. Cindy and I bonded and made friends with them, and it's just an incredible experience. And I invite everybody to come try it. We're in Houston, Texas. Come see us and try it.
Oh my God, totally. Definitely go check out Loyly Sauna Lounge. This has been so awesome. And I feel like for those that are listening to, right, like, you might be hesitant right now, and that's okay, to literally take the plunge. But it certainly sounds like this could be the case of where the benefits really outweigh the cons. I mean, you're talking about some really incredible health benefits. On the sauna side of things, I just finished Dr. Peter Attia, I think that's how you say his last name, his book Outlive. And he also talks about like incredible benefits of sauna for things like Alzheimer's, and studies really showing in that favor there. But then also the community aspect, and then being present. I feel like as entrepreneurs as well too, we're trained to always be thinking ahead. Like, I look at things by quarter, for example. So my brain's in like March, April, right? But how important it is to really also be present and see where your 2 feet are right now. And when you're in a cold plunge, especially, you're not thinking about, what's for lunch today even, right? You're just like, get through that. 30 seconds, 30 minutes. Like, it's as present as you'll ever be, right? I mean, that's got to be so powerful. And, now that you're celebrating your 1-year anniversary with Loyly, I mean, do you credit like this practice for not just helping you survive in the first year of a new business, but really, truly thrive?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It changes everything. I mean, it's made me, I'm proud of the person I am. So, and I'm proud of my wife. So,
thank you. Yeah. I can tell you it's helped me get so much heart-centered, okay? So that's one thing. It's also helped me stop that runaway train of my overthinking mind. Like in my design business, I'm responsible for a lot of things I have zero control over. I might have control over 5%, but I'm buck stops with me, right? Because I'm so client facing, and our projects are big and very demanding. And so I always have a plan, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, like the whole list, right? I always have a plan, and the ability to, which is great, which has made me very successful in that business. And I'm glad I have that attribute, but that attribute doesn't serve me in everything. So I might be I have a case in point. I was doing a lot of breath work in a dry climate, and I got a little tickle in my nose, like a kind of like a little sore in my nose. And I literally went from like, I had a little sore in my nose in less than 2 seconds to, oh my God, I'm going to have to get a prosthetic nose. I have nose cancer. Like all this stuff in my head. And I went from like zero to disaster like that. And I tell Dion, and he's like, lady, what are you even thinking? Like, and none of that was true. My nose is fine. I'm fine. I just needed to put some cream in mine, right? Like none of that was fine.
Yeah.
But I was seeing that I was doing that all over the place in my life. Like this runaway train of stories that I would tell myself. And it could be about my work. It could be about my relationship. It could be about a health concern, like all the stories that were not even real, that I was giving energy to. And the ability to recognize when that is happening, to stop that train, to jump off, to be like, not today, or not, like to recognize and to see if it's a real threat, if it's real, instead of just being made up in my head. Because in that experience, it wasn't real at all, but my body felt like it was real. It felt very real to my body, right? And so having the ability to know the difference between the real and the not real, or to tap into that next level of intuition, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're just living your life, like what you're a student, you're whatever, like being able to tap into your personal heart-centered intuition, like knowing who you are and what's right for you and what's real and not real, priceless. And I will tell you that is, if this audience leaves with any one thing about what cold water and breath can do, it's that. It's the ability to connect to who you are. And that's why I say cold water tells the truth of who you are. And who you are is what's in your heart.
I just got chills. Talking about cold water, but really, I just got chills. That is
Right?
It's powerful, yeah.
Right? It's so powerful.
Powerful stuff. And it's
so
real.
powerful.
And it's real, and it's accessible to everyone.
Yes, absolutely. The accessibility piece is so huge. And honestly, I've never been to Loyly. I hope to one day, but your community is so, so lucky to have you. Thank you so much for sharing a piece of your story. Where can people find you if they're not in Houston? Well, first of all, if you are in Houston, please go say hi to Cindy and Dion at Loyly. It sounds like they will not let you fail.
No.
And if they're not in Houston, where can people stay connected to you and your incredible, incredible mission?
They can follow us on Instagram, Loyly Sauna Lounge, and they can also follow us on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're fixing to have a YouTube channel we're going to launch.
Yep.
So
Yep. We're
we're
working
excited
on that.
about that.
We're working on it right now. It's called Our Lowly Life. And also look for us in the future. We're expanding. We've created a program because what we learned is that it's not a one and done thing. It was consistency over time, just like anything in life, right? So this consistency over time was about the 12-week mark. We noticed big gains, like our skin was looking better. Dion was having more energy. I had quit my bottle of a bottle a night of wine drinking. I broke up with alcohol easily. We were just having so much access to who we really are. And it was at 12 weeks. So we developed a program with a coach named Naomi Ring that's called the Lowly Watershed Experience. That's a corporate-based program. We just did our beta test with a group of women, and it's really epic. And so we're using things that we're learning, and then we're putting them to practice. And with the practice of the cold water, the actual doingness of the activity, of the thing that we're growing through, and locking it in. And we're doing that in community, and it's huge. So we've got corporate training. You can come to see us at our brick and mortar. We're getting ready to expand our portable units. And we will hope to have a Löyly near you in the future, because this is next level healing, next level connection. And it really, really will save our abilities to communicate as humans, one to each other. And that is so important. And the world really needs this.
Yeah.
So yeah, look us up, check us out, do it, experience it. Let us know, and let us know of your experiences, Yeah.
Love that. Cindy and Dion, thank you so much. This is major and very, very happy for you guys. Congrats on all of your success. And thanks again for sharing this message with our listeners today.
Thank you, Rena. It's awesome to be with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode deposited some useful advice and insights to help you grow your wealth. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future conversations. You can find more resources, episode details, and updates at growyourwealthpodcast.com. And let's keep the conversation going on Instagram. Follow me at Grow Your Wealth Podcast. I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or takeaway from today's show. Until next time, remember, burnout is optional. Take care, and I'll see you next week.